Hey, Mark, how you doing? Janice, everybody's popping on.
Hello, I'm good. I'm super busy as usual.
Hey, your audio is working this month.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm on the same laptop. On the same laptop, and I don't have to yell because now I'll just look like a crazy person sitting in the employee parking lot yelling inside my patrol car.
I was gonna say, what country are you in today?
You know what? It's funny you bring that up, Mike. I leave Sunday for a cruise.
Gosh.
You're a week ahead of me. I think you and I definitely rival each other.
Well, I'm going to Belize, which is apparently where that hurricane just went through. So,
Oh no.
but it's only a Cat 1. I'm not worried about it.
No.
Spoken like a true Floridian.
Exactly.
It's only a Cat 1, no big deal.
So it's funny because my neighbor, he's a retired Buffalo City homicide detective, and not this past summer, but last summer, his wife was like, when we had a couple of scares, his wife was like, should we put the shutters up? And like he looked out back and he goes, Mark didn't. We're not doing it. We don't want to get shutter shamed if we're putting it up, before we need to. And he's like, Mark's the Florida man. If he puts his up, we'll put ours up.
There you go. And if he's putting suitcases in the car, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, you all have a hand. You're way above us. We live in Safety Harbor, and my husband never wants to put anything up, any shutters, and he keeps saying it's Safety Harbor, nothing is going to happen. And of course, Safety Harbor is known for the safe harbor for the ships, not really so much for the wind and the flood.
It's a false name.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm not at the office or anywhere. I'm on my phone, actually. I'm at an event, so if I can't hear you, it's because they got something going on here.
No worries. We'll start here in a minute or two, make sure everyone's here. Still some people popping in.
Yeah, that's kind of why I sent you that email what Joey sent me this morning, so maybe you can bring that up and get it on the list.
Yep. Where's your cruise going, Janice?
Where are we going? Aruba, Curacao. Ooh, and one other stop. I don't know, somewhere all the way down there. That's way far. Out of Fort Lauderdale. Oh, and then I'm sorry, and I'm doing back to back because then we're getting off of one and then we're getting another one. So we'll be on Thanksgiving week also.
Nice.
Yeah, first time ever. I don't know.
Oh, what, doing back to backs?
Yeah.
Everyone always told me, even when I first started, like 7 days is just right, 3 days is too short. Anything longer than 7 is too long.
Agreed. I don't know. I could probably get to spend 2 weeks up in Alaska. That was gorgeous.
I just did 19 in the Mediterranean. I could tell you it wasn't too long.
Really? 19 days?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I could have done another 19.
Sounds like it wasn't long enough, Larry.
It was 32 days total, but 19 on the ship, and it wasn't long enough.
Wow.
Well, that's my next and probably last one for a while is Greece and Italy this summer coming up.
Nice.
Well, there's a lot to see in the Mediterranean, so you're right. Long trips.
All right, we'll get started. If people come through, they'll come through. Go ahead, Melissa, and just go down the list, and we can do the introductions.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Melissa Shepard with JMT. All right. I'm just going to start down this list here. Brandy Howard.
Good morning.
Brenton
Sorry,
Mosher.
introductions. Brandy Howard, Sunco Safety Council.
Thank you. Brenton Mosher.
Brenton Mosher, USF Cutter.
Thank you. And then we have Corporal Kobika.
Larry Pinellas Park.
Thank you. Then we have Corporal Huff,
Zach with Pinellas Park.
Don Skelton. He is on the call. All right, Brandon Drawhorn.
Brandon Drawhorn, Department of Transportation Safety Office.
Sandra.
Andrew Noble Peoples, Forward Pinellas Crash Data.
Thank you. Mashi.
Good morning, Mashi Daraste, American Quality Consultants, FDOT Safety Ambassador.
Janice Martinez.
Good morning, Janice Martinez, Law Enforcement Liaison for DOT District 7.
Yeah. Mike Lickensdorf.
Good morning, Mike Lickensdorf, Largo Police Department Traffic Safety Unit.
Thank you. Daniel Negersmith.
Morning, Daniel Negersmith, City of Clearwater Police Department.
Thank you. Lori.
Lori Paleo, JMT.
All right, Mark Easty.
Sergeant Mark Easty, Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
All right, Terry Nagel.
Good morning, Lieutenant Terry Nagel with St. Pete PD.
Yeah. Autumn Westerman.
Autumn Westerman, Pinellas County Schools Transportation.
Yeah. Mike Zinn.
Mike Zinn, Florida Department of Transportation, District 7, your CTST program manager.
Yeah. And then a couple people just popped in. Brian Passaro.
Yep, Brian Passaro, City of St. Petersburg.
Thank you. And then looks like we have two or a couple people that called in. Can you just announce who you are? Maybe not. Okay. That's it. Mark.
Alrighty. We're gonna go over the approval of the October meeting minutes. If you guys should have received the email. So I'll need someone to approve it and someone to second it, please.
Sandra, I'll approve it.
Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah, Mark, I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. All right. Now move on to enforcement. We'll start with Pinellas Park. Corporal Huff or Larry.
Yeah, we did 26 pedestrian details in the month of October. DUI detail with 5 arrests and 3 DUIs, and then several traffic details as well. We have our grant for our pedestrian got approved, and our speed grant is in the approval process.
Alrighty. Was there anyone else with enforcement? Any other agency? Okay, yeah. Sergeant Negersmith with Clearwater. Do you guys have anything for last month and any upcoming months?
We're going to continue to, work wolf packs with you guys, as well as we just finished up our own citywide wolf pack over Halloween weekend. We did 191 citations, 63 of them were speed. Highest was 97 on Drew Street. Wow. Yeah, and a 35. With that, we did 12 DUI arrests in 2 days, and we're going to continue to move forward. We're also going to start to look at sending a couple guys to commercial vehicle enforcement to start working towards some of the damage that some of these commercial vehicles are causing on the roadways. So that's where we sit.
All right. Was Blickendorf on the call?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm here. We started the HV in October, and we just unveiled DUI. We'll be doing every Friday.
You're kind of broken up, Mike. But I think I got the gist of it. You did some DUI details, and sound about right.
Yeah, my phone's echoing. We unveiled some overtime details going forward through the holiday season on every Friday, Saturday night, on top of our DUI cars working, and then we're in the HVE period, so we're pedestrian, probably 3 details.
All right, sounds good. Lieutenant Nagel at St. Pete.
We're getting ready to begin our HVE operations in the very near future. Other than that, we're just doing we have our monthly enforcement operation next Wednesday. So if anyone's driving in St. Pete, be very careful of your speed. Other than that, we've got nothing going on, just preparing for the holidays and the extra added business we get with those particular holidays.
That's right. Anyone else with enforcement?
I've got a couple classes that are coming up, including the winning the Florida driver's license hearing, what you need to know about that, if you want to touch on that, Mark. But I'm going to send out a letter of request. So if any of the agencies need training that is grant funded, IPTM is right now gathering a wish list for agencies for who wants to host what class for next year. So if you're interested in hosting any kind of traffic enforcement class, basically now's your time to speak up. There's actually a motorcycle instructor course going on next week in DeLand if anybody's got any interest in doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Janice. So that was going to be one of my next topics, and I'll get to training here in a minute. Last month we did the Walk Like Mad event on October 22nd, which was very successful. Almost reached the Mad's goal of 35,000 in donations. I think it was the total was 30 and change. And for those that were on the committee, we'll have our final meeting tomorrow to just go over what could be done better for next year. As far as this month goes, we're still doing the daytime traffic enforcement on US 19 for speed and aggressive driving. Shockingly enough, we weren't getting too many high speeds, 80. Mostly in the 80s is what we're looking at. Nothing like the 90 something on Drew Street, which that's just insane. In December, we for those agencies that typically participate, we've narrowed down the date, and you guys should be getting an email or already gotten an email from Corporal Laney in the DUI unit. We're going to have our DUI Wolfpack, our multi-agency DUI Wolfpack, on December 17th. It's a Saturday. So we will have that on, we'll be hosting that on Saturday as far as the DUI Wolfpack. And as far as training goes, IPTM put out a bunch of grant-funded courses, so you can go to their website. Since their new grant period started, the one that Janice brought up is a course I rewrote for IPTM. It's the basically winning the Florida DL hearing. Ironically enough, in writing the grant for that, I pulled some stats from DHSMV, and looking at the stats, I had to pull a 3-year, the prior 3 years of DL hearings. So just to give you perspective, in 2019, and for the law enforcement folks, this might sound like low numbers, but if we're talking about adult formal reviews, there were 500, actually, I'm sorry.
Mark, you might want to touch on what a DL review is.
So basically when somebody gets arrested for DUI and they either give a breath test over a .08 or they refuse to provide breath, urine, or blood, their license gets administratively suspended by the DOT or the DHSMV. They have the right to basically kind of appeal it, and that's through the DL hearing process. It's a civil process. And when that happens, the deputy officer or trooper, whoever it may be, goes in front of the hearing officer with the defense attorney, and they're basically fighting their case to make sure that proper procedure was done. And in 2019, there were just over 5,800 formal hearings held And of the 5,800, I hate cells, 39, a little over 3,900 were sustained, which means that the suspension remained. But we lost almost 2,000 suspensions that got overturned, which means they got their license back. And knowing the letters that I received from DHSMV regarding the overturned suspensions, a lot of them are due to paperwork error, report error, and that's what this class touches on and gives you tips for testifying and stuff like that. So it's a free class. That's one of a bunch of courses that they have. They have online courses and they have some other courses, so look in the area. And I'm responding to our state coordinator as we speak. It is, I say tentative, but it's most likely going to be a definite. We will be hosting a DRE school from, it'll be the end of February. So February 20th through February 3rd. We will host a DRE school, drug recognition experts. So for the law enforcement folks, if you have a good candidate, please have them submit their application to the state coordinator, Tim Cornelius, so we can get those applications sent and get that class hosted. It's nice to have it hosted here locally because you don't have to pay per diem. You don't have to pay for hotels. I know some of the stuff can be reimbursed, but I know how reimbursement works in the government world.
Hey, Mark, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So for the 5,900, is that refusals and those who blew? Do you know?
It's going to be a combination of both because it's a formal review. I could tell you this, Brandy. It took pulling teeth to get this info. Like basically short of complaining to the director, because I'd waited 3 or 4 months to get some of this stuff. But
Wow.
The data that they gave me, it just shows adult formal reviews held, adult formal reviews sustained, invalidated. Then they go into minors and they go into CDLs, and then the informal ones too. Which again, those seem very low numbers. They're only saying there were 27 in 2019. And even of the 27, 12 were sustained and 11 were invalidated.
Wow.
And
so then when they're not sustained, then it just plays out in court. So then if they're convicted, then the administrative suspension is upon sentencing.
Correct. So that and that's what we're trying to fight. And I've been arguing this ever since I took over the DUI unit and found this little glitch that, you know, and you were at that Florida Impaired Driving Coalition meeting when I gave that small presentation.
Right.
You know, defense attorneys hold us to the fire for every little thing. You know, we don't cross a T or dot an I, and then a suspension gets overturned. Well, there's certain things that they have to do too, and that's brought up in the class. You know, they have to fill out a certain document, and the deputy officer trooper has access to look at that document to see what the testimony is, because it's not a regular criminal trial, it's a civil trial. And the defense attorneys will try to play games and get what we call a free deposition out of it when they're only limited to a certain amount of information. So, and I've been in law enforcement and enforcing DUI laws for, 15 years before I finally found out, oh, well, that's what they're supposed to do. And it was kind of frustrating. So I don't want anyone else that has that same passion of DUI enforcement to get all this information so late in their career when they could have been doing it. And I know once I started pushing this information out to my folks, DHSMV, the hearing officers, had to hold the defense attorneys, hold their feet to the fire and say, well, no, you didn't fill out this form, so now we got to continue this. So it's a burden on them, but at the same time, they're the ones that made the mistake. So I don't really consider it a burden on their part, since they know that they're supposed to do something. But the problem is they've been getting away with it for so long that it's almost a norm to them.
Well, it's really great that you're providing that in that education to the other officers.
And this was a similar class, pretty much almost identical to the presentation I gave at the MAT Awards as well. So the information is getting out there. So hopefully people across the state. And I know I talked to Tom Moffett, who is the he's the head general counsel for all the attorneys, and he's got issues just like the rest of us. They're shorthanded. In fact, our Clearwater office, for those that know, Cindy Van Dunk, if you guys didn't know, she retired last month. I got an email from her saying, hey, it's my last day. I've known Cindy for about 15 years as well. Great lady. She pretty much ran that office over there. And now the only person they have left is one DL hearing officer, when that office should be staffed with 2, and then the civilian supervisor. So I understand they're shorthanded as well, and he was in the process of getting people hired, just like everyone else has, staffing issues as well. But again, that doesn't negate that there are certain procedures that need to be adhered to during these meetings.
Thanks,
So,
Mark.
yep, no problem. And I'm just trying to make sure I didn't leave anything else off them. Looking at my calendar. There is the United States Coast Guard does this, they call it a safety stand down. I don't even know what it was until last year. But what they do is the Clearwater station brings all their members in, and it's almost like a annual training event. They go over safety topics. I actually go in there and talk to them about traffic safety, speed and aggressive driving, and DUI enforcement. And I'll be at their, I think their base in Clearwater on December 15th, giving a traffic safety presentation for them. If anybody was interested. I think that's all I got. Anyone else on enforcement?
Hey, Mark, really quick. This is Brenton with USF Cutter. We concluded our enhanced law enforcement engagement program, which ran over the spring and fall from February to August, with a ceremony at FDOT in October, just last Thursday. And many of the people on this call were there in attendance. And if you weren't there, we missed you. And we did, make good on our promise and provide lots of equipment to many of the agencies. I know that many of you got True Speed S binocular lasers, and Treasure Island is not on the call, but they received a speed feedback trailer, which hopefully they are going to be having out on the field soon. And we have also promised Largo a light tower when it arrives next month. So great job to all those agencies, and we hope you put that equipment to good use.
Yes, Brenton, thank you for reminding me about that. Yes, that was a campaign that DOT and I think Tinder Oliver and George Edmonton, which he's typically on this call. I don't remember hearing him earlier, but it was a combined effort. And yes, I know we received, I think, a couple of lasers and some lights and stuff like that. And then the one thing I did forget, I confirmed yesterday with Vin Petty on January 19th. We are hosting his basic DUI trial preparation class. It's an 8-hour class at our North District station in Dunedin. That's a good class, especially for, again, your younger folks that are in DUI enforcement. It goes over the kind of do's and don'ts, the general mistakes that law enforcement officers make when conducting their DUI investigations, and then how to prepare for trial, whether it be their paperwork, reviewing their videos, and then testimony. So that's also a good class, and I got that confirmed yesterday. So that'll be another, and it's a free course as well.
Mark, can you send me that information?
Yep, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to Melissa. I know somebody just asked me about the DRE info. Tim should be probably putting it out in the next couple of days. So anything on IPTM's website is where you can find any of those free training opportunities that will be coming up. All right. Anyone with engineering? St. Pete Engineering. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Brian Pizarro?
Yes, Brian.
Yeah, I don't have any update. I don't have any update to give today.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else with engineering or pedestrian bicycle safety? All right. Is Joe on the call for education?
No, I am in his place. I'm Autumn.
Okay, Autumn. Do you have
Hey.
anything?
Yeah, we do have two things. They're not really for the group, but one, we have a problem area location that we have a bus stop, and I'd like to get with Officer Blickendorf. It's at Green Acres and Lake Palms Drive. It's a problematic stop in that we have a lot of kids assigned to it, and the kids are kind of wreaking havoc among the neighborhood. And then we have another location. We have an arterial stop location that we moved in St. Pete, and we moved it to 4th Street and 15th Avenue North. And there's been some ongoing things with one particular parent that really wants the stop moved. So we're going to have a meeting Monday to address that. And I think we could really use St. Pete PD's help with that in terms of enforcement. And that's about it.
And Mike forwarded me that email. Is it stop arm violations, I'm assuming?
No, this is an arterial stop location that
Okay.
we have a ped crossing close to it. And one particular parent just really does not like the stop location. And so, there was an accident at 2:00 in the morning, and now she's using that as, oh, this is a reason why it should be moved. And so we're going to address that on Monday.
Autumn, this is
Yeah.
Sandra. Is
Hi.
that the one that I think her name's Jacqueline?
Yes.
Okay. She sent me a couple photos too. I met her at the Stetson. I was at an event down at it was a health event down at Stetson College, and we were talking about safety, and she brought this intersection up, and I had brought it up to Casey with Pinellas County because I didn't know everything that went on.
Right.
But she had pictures and everything of some people who did not stop. The lights were flashing. No one was hurt, but she sent pictures and stuff, which this was during the day while she was there
Right.
crossing her children. And she said she understands, but after talking with Joe yesterday, I see that everything that you guys have done out there. So hopefully they'll be able to do something to, because I think it was people were not stopping. It's not the first people. There was people stopped, and then the people behind them did not stop.
Right,
Trucks
which
and
caused a
stuff.
crash. Yeah, and that's kind of common with pedestrian crossings, but we'll address it and see what we could do about it.
Yeah, and Lieutenant Nagel, I forward that email to you just so you have it. So if your folks can go out there and try to see what type of enforcement needs to be done out there.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with them. They call me on almost a daily basis, and my guys are regularly out there multiple times a week.
All right,
Thank you for that.
Sounds good then. All right. Anything else with education?
Hey, Mark, do you guys want to make those two problem areas yeah,
you can add it to the list.
On the location, okay.
Yep. That'll just be one we'll continue to check up on until at least they figure out a resolution for that one in St. Pete.
Okay, we'll do.
Melissa, I forwarded you as well, that same email, so.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Regarding education, I just wanted to throw out, through our FDOT funded grant that Cutter manages, George has been continuing to deliver education to high schools during the driver's ed programs and other programs. So he is at a school in Hillsborough County. Today he covers Hillsborough and Pinellas, and we have other people cover Pasco and the northern counties in D7. And also through FDOT, we have a driver's ed scholarship program where teachers can get their certifications, and we've picked up several schools across the district through that program, and hopefully we'll continue that into the future. We are funded through the end of next year with that program, and so between making sure we have an abundance of driver's ed teachers and providing our education to the driver's ed classes, we're hopefully getting this next generation to be better drivers.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brenton. All right. Anything else for committee reports before we move on?
Mark, I just wanted to bring up, we have our annual traffic count maps that are being produced, or actually they're produced, and I'm delivering them out to like libraries and all the Chamber of Commerce's, things like that. There's a list. And I also been giving out some safety information for crossing the road, school bus. So I'm gonna try to incorporate that in next year. Maybe I can get some like pamphlets and stuff that I can, there's like, I think maybe 20 people around the area, St. Pete libraries, things like that, that I can get information out to for education. Anybody has any connections on getting, I'm sure FDOT, we got most of our stuff from there, but we used to produce little safety forms, and we're kind of like, they're all old right now. So I might be able to get a hookup with FDOT or someone who we can get that delivered for y'all.
All right, yeah. I'm sure we can help with that. All right, anything else? We'll move on to problem locations. Now, I can tell you this from working the traffic details in the morning, I haven't noticed any of this going on, this cutting over. The traffic seems to flow a little bit better. It looks like the peak time where traffic backs up is about 8 to 8:30, and it's only for a short period of time, and then it kind of moves on. So we'll keep it on there for just a little bit longer, but should be good for now. All right. Lime Street, we don't have anyone from Tarpon on here to give an update on that. And I know Mike just jumped off the call real quick, but I know he was working with DOT to get the delineators and that stuff set up, so we can revisit that one. And I'll get with Officer Gasson, because I don't know if Boone is still over in Tarpon Springs anymore, because maybe he could start attending these meetings in his place if he retired or left. School safety zone on Tampa Road in 19th Street. Are you guys getting any complaints on the school side of it, reference to speeding? All right, I don't really hear much. We'll keep that on there, and I'll get with our traffic folks, our daytime traffic guys, and if that doesn't seem to be an issue anymore, we can remove that one. Passing school buses, you know, I hate to say that, that one's just always going to be on there. We'll just need to identify our problem areas, you know, our high problem areas. I know Gandy was one, 4th Street's one, 4th Street and I think 114th Ave. So we'll just keep that on there and add specific locations if need be. And Mike just left again for the light at Tarpon Mall. So we'll revisit that. Again, working this one, I know this came from FHP. I haven't seen any issues here, and I haven't seen any crashes in the past 2 weeks of working there. So let's go ahead and remove that one, Melissa, because I don't think we're going to need that one anymore.
Okay, will do.
And that's the last one.
Nope, 2 more.
Oh, okay. Again, like, I know me and Mike talk about this every meeting. I don't know how those delineators. I guess people just don't care about their car. I don't know, because I know it does at least some cosmetic damage to the car, maybe nothing significant, but and the cars driving in that area, the ones I see are pretty high-end cars. So I don't understand why people would be doing that. But I know our traffic folks are in that area, so we'll keep that one on there, and we'll just keep monitoring it. Now, I know this was brought up from Joe Do you guys from the schools, are you still having issues with this one?
I haven't heard anything lately about it.
Okay, I'll keep it on there. We'll just keep continuing to check up on it.
Okay, thanks.
Through the school year, and if it seems like the problem's kind of resolved, then hopefully that'll be the end of that. And then yeah, Mike's gone again for this, but yeah. Now I want to say Tampa Road. I believe they did do some resurfacing there, or at least started it. So we'll keep that on there, and we'll come back with Mike next month to see what the progress is on the work for those. All right. All right, Machine, do you want to go over HSIP and your
Good
other
morning. Yes. So as usual, currently we're working on some requests for materials and intersection safety. I just wanted to remind everyone that if the project is the project to be eligible for HSIP funding, it has to meet FDOT HSIP Manual Section 1.4, which basically requires reduction of fatal and serious injuries and a benefit cost ratio of 1 or greater than 1. And people who put in the applications, they know it goes through lengthy calculations, but if we can't show those, then it can't be eligible for HSIP funding. Not that DOT hasn't been gracious enough to find other fundings, but just saying for HSIP funding. And please send me any requests or copy me, send it to Biriha. Any requests for HSIP funding, any applications in an email format, because the portal is being worked on. And if you need any help, please let me know. Email me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Machine. Anyone have any questions for her regarding those projects? All right, we'll move on. Well, high crash intersections, but you can just pull up the fatal map. I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but again, we're doing significantly better than last year. I know the past couple months we've seen a significant rise in fatal crashes, but right now at the end of October, we're at 97 total fatal crashes. With we broke the 100 mark. We're at 102 fatals. This was due to having 5 double fatals. Same time last year in 2021, we were at 127 fatal crashes with 135 total fatalities. So still doing a lot better than last year, but I really was hoping to get it to stay under 100 this year. So, and then looking at our hotspot areas, I guess we could probably add Drew Street to at least the speeding portion of it, but we have State Road 60, which obviously is a hotspot area, and I know the Clearwater folks tackle that. Same thing with East Bay, which I know the Largo folks tackle that, and then Ulmerton and 49th Street, we are actually out there a lot doing enforcement, and then Gandy and 34th Street.
Mark, I just want to say something about the hot spots were, I don't change those. Those were brought up or placed because of the Safe Streets Pinellas. So what I wanted to propose, and I was talking to Chelsea about this, she thought about taking the hot spots off, and maybe we can on a monthly basis put where the high crash intersections are, like where there's, you know, these are just fatals, but we have like the top 10. I could do like the top 10 high crash intersections for the the month, and then put them on there as some kind of delineated, because the hot spots are based on what we came up with through Safe Streets Pinellas. So I thought maybe that might be a better tool to see where the all crashes were.
No, I think that's a good idea. It'll separate the two because there are two different data sets on it. And would it be almost like a heat map?
No, we would still keep the high injury network. I'll talk to Chelsea about what we did for the Safe Streets Pinellas, but we can do a heat map. If that, it might be too much color. So I was just thinking about maybe identifying the top 10 high crash intersections for the previous month. Like,
Yeah,
if
I'm good
it's-
with that.
Okay.
Any extra data is beneficial to me. So,
Mhm.
and anyone that works traffic enforcement. So, yep, that's fine.
And I also want to thank the police that's been getting back with me to help clarify some of the crash reports and getting them sent back through DHSMV. I'm working with Benish on the updates aren't coming back through DHSMV. And from some reason, he said that, you know, that he can add them into our system, but I think they need to go back through the state so that we have the updated report. Because I have several reports that are in CDMS that are injury only, and they're on this map because they are fatalities. But the report doesn't say like who died or anything like that because I didn't receive the update yet.
Yeah, I know you and me had that problem with the one crash. It had been improved for a while, and you still couldn't see it on your end, and they have to physically force it. So I think that's more of an IT issue on their end that they probably just need to have their folks look into to make sure that when something is submitted, because that wasn't even an update, that was the original report, and
Right.
and it didn't get submitted for whatever reason. And I know that's happened numerous times because you've called me numerous times. Hey, what about this crash? I'm like, it's approved. It should be in the system. No problem. I'll just send it to you. So I think that's more of an IT issue on their end to make sure, these things don't get lost in technology space in between transfer.
Right. And also with the updates, because the updates usually have, they could happen 6 months down the road. And, we need to see that and get that report in there because, we want to make sure that at least the fatals are on here. I
Yeah.
mean, we have them on the hard copy, but, when we're doing analysis, we don't use the hard copy. We use what's in the system.
Yeah. Alrighty. And then for
We lost you. Mark.
We can't hear you.
for the law enforcement folks, if you go to that second page, just look at the highlighted ones. I know there's one for Largo. There's just missing the DHSMV number, which that's easily fixed. St. Pete has one, but I don't know why it's. Actually, I won't even worry about that one. I know FHP has a bunch on there, and you have the new contact. I guess it's Lieutenant Middleton.
Yeah,
Right, Sam?
and I've got his information the other day. I just didn't enter it on here. So I think
Okay,
everybody
perfect.
but,
Yeah.
Except for PCSO and I've already talked with Largo.
All right, perfect. And we'll get ours handled as well. All right. Does anyone have any questions about the map, the fatals? All righty. Now the Pinellas trail user count looks like Palm Harbor is creeping up on Dunedin. I know Dunedin's always the front runner, but they're coming up behind them. And from the looks of it, the times they start getting busy between 6 a.m. and about 10 or 11 a.m. I guess these people going to work much later than the 8 to 9 typical schedules. Total number so far from between January and September is about 1.5 million. It's pretty good. And then looking at the use since 2017, obviously the increase in 2020 with everything that happened then, and people being stuck at home, realized exercise was important since they really didn't have much to do. And it wasn't, the good thing was if you look at 2021, there's and we're still in, with a couple months left, that is not much of a drop off since 2020. So these people are still continuing to go out and utilize the Pinellas Trail. Anyone have any questions about the Pinellas Trail counter map? All right. All right. Anything for new business anyone wants to bring up or talk about? I do have one topic. So next month is our month to meet in person. I know Mike, when I mentioned this in a couple of emails back, Mike mentioned using FDOT's office on Ulmerton Road. I'll get with Mike, but it's been a while actually since we've been over there, so I think it would be a good location to use since it's been a while. So does anyone have any issues with meeting in person at the FDOT building on Ulmerton Road? It's between US 19 and 49th Street. All right, not hearing any complaints. I'll get with Mike just to make sure that the room will be available on that day, and we'll get that set up. Does anyone have anything else for new business prior to us adjourning? All righty. Well, I thank everyone for joining, and we will see you in person.
Thank
next
you.
month.
Hey, Mark, I sent you some emails. Can you give me a call when you get a second? And
Yeah, I'll
follow
call
up?
you. I see it popping up, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just call you when I'm done.
Yeah, there's an issue there. Give me a call when you get a second.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Have a good
Okay.
afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.